Welcome to the Naughty Boating channel. My name is Dale. I've been boating for 20 years, and my mission is to learn as much as I can about liveaboard boating in the Caribbean in the next 4 years. And I will go through my experiences with boats and whatnot. So come along and enjoy my journey.
Are you a captain now? You know the water goes outside of the boat.
So this is a video about my first boat buying experience, the good and the bad with it. All right, so let's start off with the first part of it, which is I didn't buy this boat. Um, I, and this is lesson number one, I was naive. I was 22 years old. My boss at the time and roommate, she had a boyfriend, and they said, "Hey, can you co-sign for this?" Well, of course, you don't know what you don't know. So I co-signed for the boat. That being said, months later, they broke up. He stopped paying. Other issues happened, right? So, lesson to be learned. Uh, one, the 5 people that you have around you, one of them is going to try to take advantage of you. I'm not a big Bible person, but Jesus knew that Judah was going to set him up. And I mean, life lessons. There's always one person that wants to get ahead of you. And so be cautious of it and also read all loan documents. I thought I was co signing. They actually put me on the loan. It was my boat. Bad mistake. Let's go on. All right. Lesson number 2 about buying a boat. The type of boat, and I'll put a picture up here of that you buy will make a huge difference. So this is a Sunbird Eurosport. It was a 1987 or 88. But the boat itself, there's a million boat brands. I swear to God, they go in business for 3 years. They slap some fiberglass and a motor and an outboard engine, IO, whatever together, and then make some money. You know, as business happens, some people are corrupt. Some people don't know how to manage money and they're out of business, right? So we got a million boat brands and we've got about a handful of outdrive, outboard, whatnot. The Eurosport had an OMC, which I believe stands for Outboard Marine Corporation, outdrive, right? And it had a Cobra engine, which most inboard engines I have come to see are either Mercruiser, Volvo Penta, or um, it's a version of a Chevy engine. There's Ford 302s out there too, but basically they say it's a truck block, whatnot. Inboard has to run. It's almost like a car engine, but it's not, because when you shift, a car engine goes down in RPM. A boat engine, whether it be a diesel or a gas engine or an outboard, has to maintain anywhere between 1,000 and 6,000 RPMs while the prop is spinning, right? So, yeah, the first bad part about this was that it was OMC. They went out of business. Evinrude bought their back parts, but since there's such limited parts versus Mercruiser, right, it cost me more to replace parts. Okay, so part three now we're on to. So part three was he decided to take me out boating and he wanted to show off. So he floored it, right? Never should have boat, I believe, in my opinion. I also saw this Gus say this from In Too Deep, and actually good vibe.
Working too hard, they're chilling. One thing I've learned with the years is every time I take a boat to full throttle, something breaks.
Right, Lewis from Good Vibes. A boat should never go past 75% of the load, or the RPM. And I agree with it fully. So he floored it. And then his phone rang, and he, instead of shifting it into neutral, which because of the resistance of water, the boat will come to a stop if you just shift it into neutral, right? He not only shifted it in neutral, he shifted it into reverse, and it turned that prop the other direction so fast that it threw a gear right out of the lower unit, right? Destroying the lower unit. We had to get a boat to tow us back in. So that lesson is, if you're driving a boat, never go over 75% of the load, because you might break it. And typically, most people have broken their boat flooring it. It's not a car, it's a boat, right? And then also, when you're going fast, the best way is to shift back into neutral because it's just a hand shifter that you've got forward and you've got neutral and you've got reverse. And so just drop it into neutral, it'll slow down. Now, when you're docking, that's a different story. But when you're going, just shift it back into neutral. Otherwise, you'll throw a gear right through the out housing. Okay, so that's life lesson, whatever number. Let's go on. Okay, so what ended up happening is he broke the boat. He said he was going to fix it. He took the boat. They broke up. Then the bank starts calling me because the loan payments, he stopped making the loan payments, and I'm in communication with him at this time. And come to find out, they broke up. So she gave me the title, and she's like, "By the way, it's in your name." Thanks. I moved out, stopped talking to her. She ended up getting fired from the place I worked from. Um, so then I had to repo this boat that's mine. Good thing is I worked at a cell phone place. I was able to ping the towers of where his calls were originating from. I found out where he had been and whatnot. I did recon. I found the boat. Me and my friend went. We had the title. Knocked on the door. Lady's like, "Yeah, he's just a friend. He just stores a boat here. Take it." So we took the boat. I'm like, "Whoo!" I got the boat back. I recovered my. It was a $6,000 boat, right? And so I got the boat back, thought everything was fine, took it to my parents' cabin, let it sit for the rest of the winter. And it was already winter at this time when I recovered it. I think he bought it in July, he broke it in August, and then it took me 3 months to recover the boat. So we got the boat back, put it in storage. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to keep this boat now and I'm going to fix it because I was a mechanic when I was younger. Well, got a new lower unit. Um, the lower unit costs somewhere around $3,000. The boat's 6,000. So 50% of the value already smoked. I'm into it 9 grand already at this point. Got the lower unit all attached, everything. They go to start it up. The thing is hydro locked or whatever the word is for it. And basically is he didn't winterize the boat and it froze the block and it cracked the block, right? So that is the lesson there is if you do not winterize a boat in any of the freezing conditions, you will crack the block and the engine is smoked. Then it's not necessarily, we'll get into what I had to do to get it back to running. But yeah, that lesson I had to learn the hard way. So we are into it 9 grand already. And now we've got to fix an engine. Okay, so on to the next lesson. I was a mechanic. I was like, all right, I can do this. There's what am I going to do? Stop paying on it and let them repo it? So I'm like, okay, I'll wrench on this thing. And so pulled the engine, got a new block, had them rebuild the entire engine. This is where it kind of got catchy. Got it up, got it running, was still having problems. And that's because I replaced the engine, not some of the other parts in it. And as I've watched Gus from Into Deep go through boats, right? And some things he thinks can last and some things he doesn't. And then eventually has to, you know, most of the time with him, he's done it so budget friendly that I understand it. But on the other hand, would he have had a lot less problem with the Detroits if he would have just pulled them and put two Cummings in there, right?
There's a lot. This boat, I thought the Hatteras was a lot of systems. Oh my god! But I wouldn't be truthful about In Too Deep if I wasn't in too deep. So
it's kind of your brand.
it's my brand. This is a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm so freaking excited about this boat, dude.
Yeah, I didn't find any.
Right? Or two Cats in there instead of the Detroits. You got better gas mileage, whatnot. So you can foresee problems through other people's mistakes, as you are seeing through my mistakes. That being said, I didn't replace the manifolds. Then I had to find the manifolds. Well, they cost a shit ton because OMC doesn't exist anymore, right? So I got the manifolds, finally got the boat, went out, right? Good thing I had insurance. So know what kind of boat you're buying, where the parts are sourced, and also carry insurance on it, because I had a log. Still naive to boating and everything like that. And I had a log and it busted the second lower unit. So this is on the third lower unit, and probably a better decision why a lot of people go with outboards versus an IO inboard outboard style. Anyways, so back to it, and what ended up happening is the insurance covered the outboard because of a log, right? So finally got it, moved to Minnesota from Wisconsin, that's where I was, and brought the boat up here. um, Basically had it, didn't use it that much. Got married, had kids, things like that. Life evolved. She didn't like going out on it too much, so ended up selling the boat for 2,500. Probably ended up costing me around $11,000 for a $6,000 boat. Let's just average up to like $12,000 for a $6,000 boat. It ended up costing me. Now that being said, the value I got from being on the water, the relationships, everything like that over the years of having that boat was amazing. It hooked me, and we'll get into my second boat and how much better that boating experience was. But click subscribe, comment down below. Obviously, I'm naive. I was naive at that point. You don't know what you don't know. Unconscious, incompetent I was with finances, relationships, and boating in general. But I learned, and that's a value that carries on. And so that helped in the second boat purchase, which was almost flawless. Um, and we'll go on here now as we buy more boats and whatnot. But yeah, click subscribe, like the video, and I will go through more boating experiences, get you guys more premium content. Okay, maybe not premium, but hopefully get you some good content. I plan on getting a runabout for here in Minnesota. I need to probably buy two kinds of motors, a diesel and an outboard, and strip them apart. Um, Even though I probably won't be working on my live aboard outboard that much, it's still, you need to know the reasons why they paint the engines white is what's leaking and why is it leaking. Boats and water do not mix. They say it's a hole in the water that you throw money into. And the reason why is because the boat's made out of, or has copper and all the wiring or whatever, and there's salt in the air when you're down there. Up here, you've got the freezing effect of the motor being frozen. And so when you mix water, metal, and copper, these things don't go together well. And it's not a matter of if your boat will break, it's when it will break. Same thing with running aground. It's not if you'll run aground, it's when you run aground. So, anyways, comment, share, like the video, subscribe, and I'll keep you guys up to date with weekly videos.